Hey guys, my name is Ben Howard, and today we're going to be talking about my fourth attempt at trying to shoot a 1,000 rated round with only Goliath discs. If you haven't seen my previous attempt in the series, you can check that playlist out in one of the corners, but sadly for this one I wasn't able to record anything, so I won't have any videos for y'all to watch during this one. But if you do want to see video of the course, I did a practice round with Taylor Strutton, Disc Golf Pastor, so make sure y'all go check that out. This one we were playing the third big thaw at Dolly Cooper Park. And after the most recent course redesign, the course has turned into a birdie or die course, basically. I guess just a step above a birdie or die course in difficulty, where birdies require a very good shot, but getting par is pretty easy, and in order to get a bogey, you would have to make two just horrible shots in a row. But getting into the tournament, the first problem I ran into is probably something you saw in the thumbnail of the title. I pulled into the parking lot, got out, opened my trunk, and realized I left my bag at home. I had played a quick 9 holes with my dad and little brother the day before and just completely forgot to put my bag back in my car after we got home. So luckily I had a bunch of backups in my car and was able to put together a pretty good bag. Because another nice thing about Dolly is you really don't need more than like 5 or 6 discs really to play that course. The main thing that I really was missing, and the main thing that I really think hurt me during the tournament, was the fact that I didn't have my putting putters. Luckily, Taylor Strutton was in the tournament, and he had some backup Waymakers that I was able to use. Because otherwise, I would have been stuck on Team Genesis or Team Covenant, and that would not have been fun. Especially once we got into the second round, it would have been awful to put with those things in that wind. Aside from my putting putters, the only other things I was really missing was a very overstable distance driver and fairway driver. But getting into the first round, we started on hole 3 and was able to start off the round with a birdie, which felt great. Because I think I had to make like a 20-ish footer for the birdie too. Then on hole 4, wasn't able to birdie that one. That one I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Because I like the mid-range play, but I don't really have a mid-range that I'm comfortable throwing on that shot. But I do have a fairway driver that feels great throwing on that line. But every time I throw it, it goes super far past the basket. See, in hole 5, I put it to like 35-ish feet, maybe just inside the circle. Missed that putt. Hole 6, parked that one. That one felt great to get. I also got the CTP on that one too, so that was nice. Then hole 7, I threw it like 50, 60 feet short, laid that up because the basket's right on the edge of the hill. Hole 8, I went to throw my backup for my Glow Aces Gyra. Turns out that thing's actually flippy, and even though I haven't thrown it ever, so that turned over on me. Luckily I was able to get up and down for par. Hole 9, early released it, left it short left. Hole 10, I pulled it and threw it long, so I ended up having like a 40-footer and chained out left side on that one. Hole 11 I got, which felt sick because I'd actually practiced that one specifically before the tournament to make sure I had a disc in my bag I could do that with. That hole's especially annoying because the hurricane either caused flooding, which filled that fairway with sand, or I've heard they dumped sand out there to soak up water too. But either way, the fairway is completely full of sand. So wherever your disc touches the ground is where it's going to stay. So even with it being just like a 300-foot hole, I had to throw a fairway driver as hard as I could just to get all the way down there. Hole 12, I don't remember what happened there, but I got a par. Hole 13, I threw the most stable Rapture I had, and it just kind of went straight. Never really got back towards the basket at all. I tried to throw a little forehand turnover shot that would just kind of flatten and drop with the pillar. Ended up throwing that like 10 to 15 feet long maybe, and airballed that putt, which felt great, as I'm sure you could guess, especially with that being my first bogey of the round. But 14, I tried to throw a flex shot with my flat top arc, and that arc was very interesting because it's not as flat as the one I have in my bag. So it's almost like right in between the domey orange arcs and the flat top orange arcs. And so I really had a hard time nailing that one down because sometimes I could get it to flip a little bit, but other times I would throw it and it would just fade out on me. That time I tried to throw a little flex forehand and just threw it soft and it faded out a little too early for me. I had like a 30-ish foot putt, missed that. 15, I was going for the forehand, just hit the gap and let the disc do whatever it wants to once it gets down the fairway. Only problem was I threw it a little too soft and it ended up cutting too far to the right and not pushing down the fairway far enough, so I had an obstructed like 60-footer instead of the like slightly obstructed 40-ish footer that you would expect. Hole 16, got the birdie there with the same flat top arc. I've been liking the forehand on that line. Typically, I don't like throwing forehands uphill like that, but I've been hitting the line really well, and my forehand's been really great as of like the last 2 to 3 tournaments. For 17s, just a forehand hyzer, basically, nothing in the way. The green is sloped, but with the angle the disc comes in on, it's not normally going to roll that much. But I think I gave myself like a 20 to 25 footer and missed that. 18, I hit basically first available. I had like no way to get up and down except for a gap that was like this wide. Missed the gap. Luckily, I was able to get up and down for my bogey though. But then we went back over to hole 1. I was able to birdie that one just with a straight shot from the gyra. Put myself to like 20 feet, made the putt. Hole 2 is fun because on that one you've either got to throw a high backhand hyzer that cuts in front of some trees and just kind of like hyzer flips and pushes, but it's like, what, 250, maybe not even that far. So it's a very touchy shot for a backhand, and it's kind of hard to hit the gap. But you can go with a forehand turnover, which makes hitting the gap a lot easier, but the angle control is a lot more difficult. I had been going for the forehand because it pretty much takes the bogey out of play, and tried throwing that same arc and just threw it too soft because it got through the gap for me, but ended up fading pretty far to the right. But I got up there and I'm looking at the basket. I'm like, there's no reason not to run this because there's a backstop directly behind the basket. There's a chance I could roll, but I mean, who cares at this point? I was 2 under at that, or 3 under at that point. So I just threw the pillar and threw it in from like 80-ish feet, I want to say, maybe a little bit closer than that. So that was a fun way to end off the round. But looking back at this round, I think I did lose maybe 1 to 2 strokes from not having my actual bag, where I threw a shot thinking a disc was going to do one thing. Turns out it was going to do something else. But the main thing that was making me lose strokes was not having my actual putting putters, because I think I missed probably 4 putts that I would have made, which I was really surprised about, because I assumed, like, you know, same mold, basically the same plastic. The ones Taylor gave me were OT or Old Testament plastic, and the ones I've been putting with are Glow Tee, which is the glow version of Old Testament. Either the plastic is slightly different, or the more likely thing is just the fact that I've had my putters for, I think, has it been a year? Or at least we're coming up on a year soon. And so mine are just way more beat in than his. I know I missed a few putts because they were a little bit more overstable, especially in Circle 2. Circle 1, I really didn't notice too much of a difference. The only thing that was killing me in Circle 1 was the fact that the plastic's a little bit slicker. But in Circle 2, I had the discs kind of fade and hit left side chains, where my putting putters would still be pushing straight. But looking back, I really do think I could have shot like 8 under that round if I had my putting putters and my actual bag. But I was still able to shoot 4 under, which was a 930 rated round, which anything above my rating I will definitely take. But going into the second round, I felt a lot more confident after, you know, having a round under my belt with these discs and knowing what these discs will do a lot better. But the problem was the wind decided to pick up during the second round and made the course, I think it was about 2 strokes harder. This time we started on hole 4. I tried going with the fairway driver this time, threw it long. I had like a 60-foot look, but wasn't able to convert there. But I was able to get the next 3 holes, which felt really good. And I pretty much parked all 3 of them, if I remember correctly. Well, no, I think I had to make some 20 to 25 footers. 8, I don't remember what I did on 8. I think I just left it short or something. Oh, no, that was the one. I tried to throw that same gyra that I threw on it during the first round and expecting the turn, but that time we had a tailwind, and so it just kind of stabled it out, made it push straight, hit a tree, fell down to like a 45, 50 footer, missed that. Hole 9 sucked because I threw it to like 20 feet and then missed the putt. Hole 10, I parked that one, which that one always feels great to park because it's just such a pretty hole. And I think, yeah, it was after that hole that I looked and I saw that I was actually in the lead by 1 stroke. And I think that did start to get into my head a little bit because I did cool off at that point. But that was also the point where the wind really picked up. And like I said at the beginning, I don't have a lot of overstable stuff that can fight this wind. I'm just having to deal with like stuff that won't flip up and turn over in the wind, but if I throw it flat into a headwind, it's going to like do a S curve. So next hole I parred, which like I said the first round, that's about what you expect on that hole. 12, that one I messed up because I tried to throw something too overstable. Ended up hitting something early left. Tried to get up and down, threw it to like 40 feet, missed that putt. Hole 13, there was no way I was going to be able to birdie that hole. I think we had a head right to left wind. And so anything I threw was just going to turn over and never come back. And that's what my Rapture did. But was able to get up and down that time. Hole 14, I hit something early, threw my approach shot, hit up on the hill, rolled down to where I had like a 35-footer, and was able to make that putt. Hole 15, I hit first available, tried to throw an approach shot, hit like second available, jump putted up and down, got out of there with the bogey. 16, I threw that same forehand and just hit one of the trees on the right side, kicked left. Only had like a 100-foot approach shot and got up and down for par for that. Hole 17, I got a birdie, which felt really good considering I think at that point I was like 1 to 2 strokes off the lead at that point. 18, I threw the forehand that time, which throwing the forehand on 18 is like throwing the forehand on 15 because it makes the gap a lot easier to hit. It's going to get you down there to like a 40-footer, but you're never going to park it that way. And so I gave myself maybe an edge of circle putt and laid that up because if you've ever seen that green, like there is nothing behind the basket but a 100-foot drop off. But then we made it back over to hole 1, and as you can see, just didn't get any more birdies for the rest of the round. I just kept putting myself just a little too far from the basket to where I wasn't able to make the putts or just got unlucky. Like hole 2, I made the correction and threw the forehand like I wanted to, but hit a tree and rolled back probably a good 80 feet. But as you can see, I shot 1 stroke worse than the first round, and it was rated 10 points higher. And I think 8 down was a... But looking back on the tournament, I don't really know if I learned too much from this one, aside from the fact I need to make sure my bag is actually in the trunk of my car before I leave. But I think if anything, it really just shows that I do have all the pieces in my game to shoot 1,000 rated round. It's just going to require a little bit of luck and just that one really good round where everything's clicking, everything's working for me. Because like I said, the only thing that really wasn't working too well this weekend was my putting. And the video I'm actually putting out on Friday is going to be my first round putting with my actual putting putters again. And it was so nice to be able to putt with those things again. Yeah, I had a great time out there. As always, like Dolly's always just a fun course to play tournaments at. So, but yeah, I think that's everything I've got to talk about in the tournament. If y'all have any ideas on what I just talked about, please let me know down in the comments. But thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and have a good one. Bye.